You can feel it, can't you? Something inside the connection has changed. The silence doesn't sting the same way. It hums. Because even if he doesn't say a word, his soul has already started calling your name again. The divine masculine isn't as detached as he looks. Behind the stillness, behind the pride, there's a secret longing he doesn't show to anyone. He dreams of you even when he tries to forget. He feels your energy even when he avoids your name. And in his quietest moments, when the world stops spinning, you're the peace his heart keeps searching for. He doesn't crave your body. He craves your presence. The feeling of being seen without masks, of being loved without judgment, of being met soul to soul, the way only you ever did. He's not ready to admit it, but the more he tries to fill the void with distractions, the more he realizes nothing feels like you, because it was never about possession. It was about recognition. His soul knows what his mind denies. You are the mirror he's been running from, and the home he's been missing. And right now, in the space before union, that hidden desire is growing louder. He wants to reach out. He wants to tell you what he couldn't say before. He wants to stop pretending that he doesn't feel the pull. But the universe has him in a sacred pause, not to punish, but to prepare. Because before he can hold you again, he must learn to hold himself. Before he can love you freely, he must learn to love truthfully. So even if you don't see movement yet, know this: the desire is already working. Every time you choose peace instead of pain, every time you surrender instead of chase, he feels it. Your energy is teaching him how to rise. This is the mystery before union, when both hearts ache in silence, yet everything within the silence is aligning. Because what he secretly desires isn't just to be with you, it's to finally be ready for you. What the masculine secretly desires before union, you've felt it, haven't you? That strange pull in your heart when everything seems quiet, as if someone out there is thinking of you but refuses to admit it. Have you ever wondered what really moves inside the divine masculine's heart during this silence? What he secretly desires when the whole world believes he's moved on? Before union, his longing is quiet, but it's constant. He doesn't want attention nor sympathy. He desires peace, not the peace of solitude, but the peace that once lived in your energy. He misses the way your presence made him feel seen, safe, and understood, not as a role, but as a soul. He's been taught that strength means silence, that emotion means weakness. But deep inside, his spirit aches for the kind of love that doesn't perform. It simply exists. He craves the version of you that never asked him to be perfect, only real. Because no one else ever looked at him and saw home. What does he secretly desire before union? To be recognized, not for what he does, but for who he is. To be held without being fixed. To be loved without being saved. And most of all, to be forgiven, not by you, but by himself. He acts indifferent, but he feels everything. At night, when the world is asleep, his energy reaches for yours. You feel the sudden pull in your chest, the warmth in your heart, and you wonder if it's your imagination. It's not. It's the invisible thread tightening again, reminding you that no amount of distance can silence the bond between two awakening souls. His greatest desire is not reunion, it's redemption. He wants to love without fear. He wants to trust again. He wants to feel like he's finally enough for the love he once ran from. But before that can happen, he must face what he's been avoiding, the truth that your energy didn't demand change, it inspired it. Have you noticed how he feels you when you detach? How the silence becomes louder when you stop trying? That's because your peace exposes his chaos. Your surrender forces his reflection, and your distance becomes the mirror that shows him what he still needs to heal. The divine masculine doesn't truly fear love. He fears losing himself inside it. But what he doesn't yet know is that real love doesn't consume, it completes. It doesn't take his freedom, it restores his truth. So while he hides behind distractions, while he convinces himself he's moved on, his soul whispers your name in every still moment. And when he dreams, he sees your light again, not as a memory, but as a direction. Because before the union can happen in the physical, the masculine must remember what he's actually searching for. It was never about possession. It was about coming home. And no matter how far he goes, every step he takes leads him closer, not to where you are, but to the version of himself who can finally stand beside you and say, I'm ready to love without fear. Have you ever looked at him, truly looked, and seen the weight behind his eyes? That quiet exhaustion that doesn't come from work or stress, but from constantly pretending to be fine. And have you ever wondered why he seems most distant exactly when your presence feels most calm? As if your peace, instead of soothing him, actually stirs something deeper that he's afraid to face. The truth is, before union, the divine masculine doesn't crave control or validation. He craves peace. He craves the feeling he only ever experienced in your energy, that soft safety that told him he didn't need to prove anything to be loved. And yet, it's that very peace that terrifies him most. For years, he's been wired to believe that peace comes after success, after power, after proving his worth to everyone around him. But your soul rewrote that rule. When he met you, he felt something he couldn't explain. A silence that didn't feel empty, a presence that didn't demand, a stillness that didn't judge. It wasn't attraction, it was recognition. Your energy reminded him of who he was before the world told him who to be. That's why, when the feminine stops chasing, the masculine starts to ache. Because suddenly, the only thing he ever truly wanted, peace, now exists outside his reach. He doesn't crave your attention. He craves the vibration you carry when you're at peace with yourself. That frequency is magnetic to his soul, and no matter how far he runs, he can't unfeel it. In moments of stillness, it hits him. He could be driving, laughing, surrounded by people, and out of nowhere, he feels a wave of calm wash over him. His heart softens, his mind quiets. He feels safe, and he doesn't know why. That's your energy brushing against his field again, not to remind him of what he lost, but of what he's meant to become. Do you ever feel it too? Those moments where your spirit slows down without warning, when you feel your body grounding, your breath deepening, as if someone on the other side is mirroring your serenity. That's not your imagination. That's the connection synchronizing through peace instead of pain. Because before the union, both souls must learn the true nature of power. He was taught that power is control. You're teaching him, energetically, silently, that power is peace. And it's this truth that's slowly breaking him open. The masculine's hidden craving is not for your touch, it's for your tranquility. He wants to know how you remain calm when everything falls apart, how you can forgive and still move forward, how you can love without needing to be chosen. He watches you, even from a distance, and that observation becomes his initiation. At night, when he's alone, the armor gets heavy. He replays the moments when your energy held him without words, the way your presence disarmed him, the way your silence made him feel seen. And that's when the truth begins to surface. He never wanted dominance. He wanted depth. He never wanted control. He wanted connection. But his wounds confused the two. The divine masculine is awakening through longing, and that longing is his first prayer for peace. Every sleepless night, every unexplainable emotion, every time his heart beats faster for no reason, it's his soul searching for balance, searching for the stillness that your energy once mirrored to him. And as he searches, the universe gently strips away everything that isn't real. People fall away, plans collapse, illusions burn, until he finally understands that peace was never something to achieve. It was something to remember. He starts to crave silence, solitude, reflection, the very things that used to scare him. He begins to understand that your detachment wasn't rejection, it was instruction. You were showing him how to stop running from himself. When he thinks of you now, he doesn't think of passion. He feels presence. He doesn't crave chaos. He craves stillness. Because somewhere deep in his memory, your energy has become synonymous with home. That is the hidden craving of the divine masculine before union, not to win, not to control, not even to possess, but to finally rest, to surrender the armor, to feel what it means to exist in love without having to fight for it. And whether he admits it or not, every day he comes closer to that realization. Because the moment a man stops chasing power and starts craving peace, he's already on his way back to you. Have you ever felt that strange ache, that knowing that no matter how much time passes, his soul still feels yours? And have you ever wondered why every attempt he makes to move on always seems to fall flat, as if no one else can carry the same frequency you do? Because the truth is, he can't replace you. Not because of the memories, not because of the passion, but because of your energy. Your energy carries something ancient, something his spirit recognizes beyond logic, beyond lifetime. You don't just touch him, you activate him. And once awakened, a soul cannot go back to sleep. Before union, the divine masculine tries to fill the void. He distracts himself with people, with noise, with control, but everything he reaches for feels hollow, two-dimensional, colorless, because no matter how he tries to recreate the feeling, no one mirrors his soul the way you do. Your energy was the mirror that made him see both his light and his shadows. You didn't just love his strength, you understood his silence. You didn't just admire his confidence, you saw his fear and didn't run. You gave him something he never found anywhere else: truth. You became the calm he didn't know he needed, and the storm he didn't know he feared. And that combination marked him permanently. No matter how much he tries to forget, his body remembers. His energy field remembers. The cells in his soul remember the frequency of being seen by you. It's not about obsession. its resonance. You are the frequency that his evolution depends on. And until he learns to match it, nothing else satisfies him. Do you ever feel that sudden wave of emotion out of nowhere? As if someone is thinking of you with intensity, as if the universe is whispering that something inside him is shifting. That's him remembering the vibration he once tried to replace. It's the moment when his higher self reaches out to yours and says, "I know I messed up, but I still feel you." He doesn't miss your body. He misses your essence. The way your energy could silence his storms. The way your presence could make time feel sacred. He misses the way you loved him without trying to fix him. You didn't need him to be perfect. You only needed him to be real. And that kind of love can't be found. It's recognized. When he lies awake at night, he feels a pulse, an echo that leads back to you. He scrolls through the faces of others, but none of them make him feel known. They see his surface, you saw his soul. They meet his image, you met his essence. That's the difference. That's why your energy lingers. And even if he denies it, his spirit has already admitted it. He sees your reflection in songs, in the moonlight, in the smallest coincidences that refuse to stop. Every random reminder is a nudge from the universe saying, "You can't replace what was never temporary." Because the bond between twin flames is not emotional dependency. It's energetic recognition. You are not his addiction. You are his activation. The very thing that woke him up to the truth that love isn't about control. It's about remembrance. He feels you when you're quiet. He feels you when you pray. He feels you when you're strong enough to walk away. Because in that strength, he meets his own weakness. You teach him through your absence what your presence once made effortless. Have you noticed that after you stopped reaching out, he began appearing in your dreams more often? That's because your withdrawal didn't disconnect the bond, it amplified it. Your detachment is not rejection, it's reflection. You became the mirror he now chases in every face, every sound, every moment of silence. The divine feminine carries an energy that cannot be replaced because it was never built from desire. It was born from divinity. Your soul is coated with his remembrance. You are the lighthouse his spirit keeps finding, even when he walks through other storms, and when he finally realizes that the connection he's been searching for outside was always waiting for him to rise inside. That's when the path to union begins. Because twin flames don't meet to complete each other. They meet to awaken each other. And until he matches your vibration, no one else will feel like home. Because home isn't a place, it's a frequency, and you are it. So if you've ever felt his energy linger when you thought he was gone, if you've ever sensed a quiet pull that made no logical sense, know this: he's not replacing you. He's remembering you. And in that remembrance, his soul is learning the greatest truth of all. What's divine cannot be lost. Why he feels you even in separation. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of emotion that wasn't yours? A heaviness in your chest, or warmth in your heart that seemed to come from nowhere? And have you ever wondered if, in that exact moment, he was thinking about you, feeling you, missing you in a way he'd never dare to admit? Because he does. Even in separation, the divine masculine feels you. Not because he chooses to, but because his soul doesn't know how not to. Your energies are still entangled, moving through unseen dimensions, communicating in silence, reuniting in dreams, whispering through every heartbeat. He tries to understand it with logic, but logic has no place in sacred connection. When you two met, it wasn't just a meeting of bodies. It was a fusion of frequencies. Your souls recognized each other instantly, and that moment left a permanent imprint on both your energy fields. That imprint doesn't fade. It transcends distance, time, and even the choices made out of fear. He can feel you in ways he doesn't understand. You cross his mind out of nowhere. Your name echoes in songs. Your scent passes by him in random places. Your voice visits him in dreams. And no matter how much he tries to explain it away, he can't. Because the bond between twin flames isn't emotional. It's vibrational. It's the language of energy, and he's learning to listen. Do you ever feel his presence too? That sudden tug in your chest. The feeling that someone just thought your name. That urge to look at the sky because something deep inside says he's looking at it too. That's not imagination. That's resonance. It's your energy dancing with his through the invisible threads that the universe weaves between awakened souls. In separation, he pretends not to care, but his energy tells the truth. He feels when you cry. He feels when you release him. He feels when you forgive him. And most of all, he feels when you reclaim your power. Because every time you heal, the vibration between you shifts, and the soul connection realigns to a higher octave. The more you rise, the louder your energy speaks. Not through noise, but through light. Your peace becomes a signal. Your detachment becomes a message. He starts to sense that the very thing he thought he lost is now calling him home in a new way. Sometimes he'll wake up suddenly at night, his heart racing, not knowing why. Other times, he'll feel a rush of emotion that doesn't make sense. These are moments of energetic alignment, your souls reconnecting through unseen channels. It's not always comfortable, because when your energy rises, his lower frequencies begin to shake. That discomfort he feels isn't rejection, it's activation. It's his higher self telling him she's moving forward and it's time for you to rise too. You've probably felt it too, that strange duality of missing him but feeling complete, of longing yet knowing you're free. That's because the connection never ends. Separation is never disconnection, it's redirection. It's the phase where both souls evolve into versions that can finally meet in truth. The masculine feels you most in your stillness. When you stop trying to reach him, your energy becomes louder. When you stop chasing, the current reverses. He starts feeling the absence not as punishment, but as reflection. He begins to see that your silence isn't distance, it's mastery. And that realization stirs him more than any words ever could. Have you noticed that he seems to appear energetically whenever you choose peace? That's because your calm is a magnet. Your alignment vibrates through every dimension of your shared frequency. He might not text, he might not speak, but his higher self begins to mirror your vibration. You become his teacher without saying a word. What most people call no contact isn't emptiness, it's recalibration. The universe separates you not to punish, but to synchronize. Because your bond is eternal, and the energy between you must evolve before it can manifest again in form. He feels you because your souls are still in dialogue. Every time you heal, the message travels. Every time you forgive, the line clears. Every time you choose love over resentment, the connection strengthens. And even when you think you've let go completely, he feels that too, and it calls him home. So yes, even in separation, he feels you. He feels your prayers when you ask the universe for peace. He feels your energy when you laugh again. He feels your strength when you no longer reach for him. Because in the language of souls, separation is only an illusion. You were never apart, just learning to meet again at a higher vibration. And one day soon, when the energies align perfectly, he'll understand what his heart already knows. The distance was never punishment. It was preparation. How your surrender becomes his turning point. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop fighting for the connection, something inside him begins to shift? That when you finally breathe, release, and whisper, "I trust the universe," his energy suddenly starts to move again. It's not a coincidence, it's cosmic cause and effect. Because your surrender is not the end of the story, it's the turning point. For so long, you carried both sides of this connection. You prayed, cried, chased signs, and tried to hold space for two. You believed that if you just loved harder, healed faster, waited longer, he would awaken. But the universe was never asking you to carry his transformation. It was preparing you to inspire it. When the divine feminine surrenders, everything changes. Her energy softens, her frequency stabilizes, and her heart expands. She stops sending signals of longing and starts emanating the vibration of trust. And in that moment, the masculine's world begins to collapse, not in chaos, but in correction. Because the field between you is shared. When your energy rises, his must realign or fall away. Do you remember when you used to overthink every silence, every message, every sign? And then, one day, you simply didn't have the strength to chase anymore. That wasn't weakness. That was awakening. That was the moment your soul said, "Enough." Let it unfold, and that whisper echoed through the entire connection. The masculine feels it immediately. He doesn't understand it, but he senses that the energy has changed. The cord that once drained you has become a current of light. You're no longer pulling him forward, you're drawing him upward. And the energy that once felt heavy now becomes magnetic. He begins to feel the absence of your old energy, the worry, the fear, the dependency. And what fills the space instead is a new vibration, your peace. At first, it confuses him. He can't feel your pull anymore. He wonders if you stopped caring, if someone else took your place. But soon, confusion turns to curiosity. Because that stillness you now embody calls to his soul like gravity. Do you ever feel a sudden warmth in your chest when you let go, as if the universe is rewarding your surrender instantly? That's the moment alignment begins. It's the energetic signal that says, now he must meet you halfway, because your surrender removes interference. It gives the divine permission to do what your effort never could. The masculine's ego has been at war with his soul for lifetimes. Your energy used to trigger him because it reflected truth he wasn't ready to face. But when you surrendered, you stopped shining a mirror in his face. You became light itself, gentle, radiant, non-resistant. And light has a way of finding every shadow. Slowly, he begins to feel drawn back, not to you as a person, but to the vibration you now hold. He wants to feel that peace again. He wants to understand how you can move through storms without losing faith. He doesn't know it yet, but your surrender has become his initiation. The more you let go, the more the universe orchestrates synchronicities around him. He sees your name, hears your song, dreams your eyes. But this time, it's not nostalgia, it's awakening. Because your detachment created a spiritual mirror that reflects his own potential. He realizes that love isn't something he can control or chase. It's something he must become. Have you ever felt a deep calm after choosing yourself, and somehow, soon after, sensed his energy moving closer again? That's because your self-love is the ultimate activation. Every time you say, "I trust," you open a door that no amount of begging could unlock. Because the universe listens to vibration, not desperation. And now, the vibration of surrender has become the turning point. The masculine begins to release the need to control his emotions. He starts questioning why he always runs, why nothing feels right when he denies what's real. And through your silence, through your faith, through your grace, you lead him, not by force, but by frequency. He doesn't realize it yet, but you've become his teacher. Not the kind that lectures, but the kind that embodies. Your energy teaches him that love doesn't demand, it allows. That freedom isn't absence, it's faith. The divine feminine's surrender is the most powerful energy in the universe. It's not giving up, it's giving over. It's the moment she stops trying to make the connection happen and instead lets destiny breathe it into existence. And when that happens, the masculine begins to feel the truth that he's been resisting all along, that you were never trying to control him, you were guiding him toward himself. So if you've surrendered and things feel quiet right now, don't lose faith. That stillness is sacred, because while you rest in chance, he wrestles toward awakening, and in that process, the roles reverse. You become the still water, and he becomes the wave returning home. This is how your surrender becomes his turning point. Because what once felt like an ending is actually the moment everything begins. Have you ever wondered why he still feels connected to you, even when he tries so hard to forget? Have you ever felt that his longing isn't just emotional, that it's something deeper, sacred, and written beyond your understanding? Because it is. The masculine's longing isn't random, it's divinely designed. It's the spiritual fire that burns through his resistance, his pride, his fear, It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's the language the universe uses when it's time for his soul to wake up. Longing is the bridge between illusion and truth. It's the ache that cracks open the shell he's lived inside for lifetimes. The shell that told him control was safety, that logic was strength, that love was weakness. When he misses you, what he's really missing is himself. The version of him that existed when your energy surrounded his heart like light. The man he could be, the one that only love could reveal. He tries to numb it. He fills his days with noise, people, distractions. But at night, when everything quiets down, the ache returns. It hums beneath the surface like a silent prayer. And though he doesn't say your name, his soul whispers it in every breath. Because longing is how the divine gets his attention. Do you ever feel waves of emotion out of nowhere? As if your heart suddenly feels heavy for no reason, as if his energy is brushing against yours, asking to be felt again. That's not just nostalgia, that's communication. The universe lets him feel you because it knows your energy is the key, not to dependency, but to awakening. The masculine's longing is the spiritual thread that ties him to his higher self. Every time he tries to ignore it, it pulls him back. Every time he runs from it, it shows up stronger. Because it's not about you as a person, it's about the truth your energy represents. You are the embodiment of what he's been searching for his entire life. Truth, peace, wholeness, and love without condition. That's why his longing hurts so much. It's not a craving for romance. It's the soul's hunger for remembrance. He's being stripped of everything that numbed him. The temporary highs, the shallow connections, the distractions. None of it works anymore because your frequency rewired his spirit. Once he's tasted real connection, nothing else satisfies him. Sometimes he blames you for it. She changed me, she confused me, she made me feel too much. But deep down, he knows. You didn't confuse him, you awakened him. You didn't hurt him, you revealed him. You didn't take his peace, you showed him what it could feel like. Do you see how everything is happening exactly as it should? The longing is his teacher now. It's showing him every false path he still walks, every illusion he still clings to, every lie he still tells himself to avoid vulnerability. Each time he feels your absence, the ache becomes a mirror. And little by little, that mirror starts reflecting truth. He begins to realize that his longing isn't weakness. It's his soul remembering love. Not just love for you, but love for himself. Love for God. Love for truth. This is why the universe lets him feel it so deeply. because only when the ego aches does the heart finally open. The divine purpose of his longing is to transform him from seeker to receiver, to guide him from attachment to alignment, to burn away every version of love that was based on fear. The masculine must first lose what he thought he wanted so that he can learn to cherish what his soul actually needs. This is why separation is sacred, because it's in this space that the alchemy happens. He learns that no amount of control can replace surrender. No amount of noise can silence truth, and no amount of pretending can stop the pull between two souls that were written in the same flame. He's being led back, not just to you, but to the God within him that he forgot, to the stillness that your presence always carried, to the understanding that love was never about ownership. It was always about evolution. Have you ever felt that his longing intensifies right when you choose yourself? That's because the universe uses your healing as his roadmap. Your peace becomes his compass. Your surrender becomes his signal. Each time you rise higher in vibration, you send a message through the field. I'm not waiting, I'm aligning. And his soul answers, I'm coming. The ache he feels is sacred fire, the same fire that burned through you when you first awakened, the same ache that made you pray, surrender, and trust. Now it's his turn. His longing is not his punishment. It's his purification. It's the universe calling him home through you. So don't fear his silence. Don't misinterpret his absence. Because even in distance, he's moving closer. Every heartbeat he feels for you is a step toward God. Every wave of longing is his soul's whisper that says, I'm remembering who I am. And when that remembering is complete, the ache will end. Not because he stopped longing for you, but because he finally became the vibration of love itself. Have you ever felt that quiet shift in your spirit? The one that tells you he's finally feeling what you've always known? Have you ever sensed, deep in your heart, that somewhere out there, the masculine is waking up, not to who you are now, but to who you've always been to him? Because that moment has come, the moment of realization, the moment when the divine masculine looks around and understands that every road, every distraction, every silence, every lesson was leading him right back to you. Not because you saved him, but because you mirrored him. You were the place where his soul first saw truth, the home he left searching for freedom, only to realize freedom lived in your presence all along. For so long he ran. He ran from the intensity, from the mirror, from himself. He thought distance meant safety. He thought detachment meant control. But what he didn't know was that love doesn't vanish when you look away. It grows in the dark, waiting to be remembered. And now he's remembering. He starts to see you everywhere. Not your face, not your voice, but your essence. He meets people who carry fragments of your energy. Someone with your kindness, your calm, your spark. But none of them feel complete. None of them are you, because the vibration of home cannot be duplicated. Have you noticed that when you finally found peace, his energy suddenly grew louder again? That's because your wholeness became his compass. The more you stopped waiting, the clearer his path became. Your peace began echoing across the bond, calling him home through frequency, not words. He starts questioning everything: his choices, his avoidance, his pride. He looks at his life and realizes that nothing fits anymore. The things that once excited him now feel empty. The people who once felt familiar now feel foreign. Because once you've touched divine love, nothing else feels like home. He feels it most in the quiet moments. When he wakes up at 3 a.m. and feels your name pulsing through his chest. When a song plays and his eyes sting before he can stop the tears. When a random scent, a color, a word brings you back to him, not as memory, but as truth. Do you ever feel that wave of calm, that deep knowing that says he's finally feeling it? That's the exact moment when his soul starts remembering yours. Because your peace speaks louder than any words you ever said. Your stillness carries the sound of home. The realization doesn't come like lightning. It arrives slowly, through patterns, through synchronicities, through silence. He starts to see the signs he once ignored, the numbers repeating, the dreams, the coincidences that aren't coincidences at all. And then, one day, it hits him. You were never gone. You were always there, inside the quiet corners of his soul. He realizes that what he called moving on was really moving in circles. Every connection after you was a detour. Every disappointment was redirection. And the deeper he goes into himself, the closer he gets to your energy. Because your love was never a story to escape. It was a map to his own awakening. He begins to understand that the journey was never about finding you again, but about becoming the version of himself who can finally meet you where you've always been, in peace, in truth, in divine love. Have you ever looked at the sky and felt like the stars themselves were whispering, "It's happening"? That's your confirmation, because the masculine's awakening is not dramatic, it's sacred. It doesn't shout, it hums. It happens in the silence, in the tears no one sees, in the prayers he never said out loud. And when he finally surrenders, when the walls fall, when the pride melts, when he can no longer pretend that he doesn't feel the connection, that's when the real reunion begins. Not in words, but in vibration. Because reunion always starts within. He realizes that home was never a place, never a plan, never a promise. Home was the energy that met him when his soul was lost. Home was the frequency that loved him even in his absence. Home was you. And as that realization sinks in, his heart softens. The resistance fades. The fear dissolves. Because now he understands. You were never asking for his return. You were holding the door open for him to remember where he belonged. So if you feel the energy shifting, if your dreams feel vivid, if your heart feels calm instead of heavy, trust it, because the awakening has already begun. The masculine is remembering the path. The universe is aligning the final pieces. And soon, when both hearts have learned to rest in peace rather than in fear, the physical reunion will unfold, not as pursuit, but as recognition. He will look at you the way he did the very first time, not with longing, but with remembrance. Because now he finally understands. You were never the one he needed to find. You were the home he was destined to return to.